Hi guys, I'm Rachel from This Crafty Home. I'm here to talk about all things DIY, frugal living, budgeting, meal planning. And so today we're going to talk about how to become a stay-at-home mom even if you don't think you can afford it, because you actually can. So take a journey with me. We went from being a family living on $4,000 a month to a family living on $1,900 a month, and we thrived on that income. So let's do it. So the first thing you need to do, if you're hoping to become a stay-at-home mom and right now you work, the very first thing you need to do is get your spouse on board. So how do you do that? If you and your spouse don't agree on money, this may be difficult, not gonna lie. But hopefully your spouse supports your dream, and we can go from there. So the first thing you need to do is talk to each other, get it on board that you guys both want to work to make this happen, because it's going to take both of you. It is a team effort. If one of you aren't on board, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to be frank about that. You can change someone's mind, or at least give them all the evidence they need to be okay with that decision. You may have to be lenient in what you end up giving up just to make that other person comfortable, but it's doable. So the first thing you're going to do when you decide to bring up this big conversation, and hopefully they kind of have an idea that this is something you want, I would bring to them, I would talk about your goals financially together first. What is your dreams? What do you want? And then that can naturally go into a conversation of, how do you get there? What do we need to do? How do we need to be more financially stable, more practical about what we're doing? Um, all those conversations about dreams and goals and wants can naturally lead into that without the other one feeling like you're immediately jumping on, well, you need to stop spending on this, this, and this. No, 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 no. That's not what we're doing here. We're not playing the blame game. We're not forcing someone to give up something that they dead out don't want to do. We are trying to make it as fair as possible for all parties, and once you have a goal that you're set on together, you all can be as aggressive as you want about that goal. So right now the goal is to live on one income so you can be a stay-at-home mom and cuddle those babies. Huh. My heart. I know. I stayed home with my second baby. I did not with my first. I went back to work at 7 weeks. I actually went back to work technically at 2 weeks and worked part-time from home and in the office. I took her with me a little bit. But it was so hard for me. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there for everything. I wanted to be the mom who saw all those developmental things happening, and it would kill me every single day when I missed something. So with the second one, it was pretty much, my husband knew that it had really affected me with the first, and we were like, well, this is going to be basically most of my salary to pay for daycare for both these kids. So we decided I would stay home. And then I switched jobs mid-pregnancy, and I was like, well, maybe I will stay at work. And then I had my baby, and he was in the NICU for a week, and I was like, I want to be home with my baby. I don't want to go back to work. So from there, we figured it out. We had been planning since before we had the baby. We kind of worked on our strategy. And so we really nailed down what we needed to do, and we could have done it faster, but we chose to go a little slower and at our own pace. So, how did we do it? Let's jump into that. Alright, so step one, after you talk to your partner, you're going to start prepping as early as humanly possible. And if it's after the baby's here, it's okay. You will make it to your goal. You might take longer than you want. It might take a little time. It might be short, depending on what your income is. But you will make it to your goal. Just know that. But so as soon as you can hop on making a plan and executing it, do it. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you actually get to reap the rewards and stay home and cuddle that baby. So, so you want to lower expenses anywhere you can. Because what you're going to do, you're going to figure out what number you need to live under safely. Leave yourself wiggle room. What is the number of salary that you need to live under, and go from there. Put all your expenses in a budget. First, make a budget. If you haven't done that, I have a great post that I'll link below that's all about budgeting. How to make a budget that you can actually live on as a family. So you're going to make a budget. You're going to figure out what you can cut anywhere, everywhere, so that you can live under that one income. If it's not possible right away, usually it's not, you need to figure out what debt you need to pay off to actually get that far. So you're going to hop into debt payoff mode. So you're going to make your new budget. That would be your ideal budget when you're under one income. And then you're going to try and live as close to that budget as possible. And any extra money you have from it, you're doing this as soon as you can, you're going to apply towards debt to pay it down so you have less payments coming out of your pocket. So I'll give you a real life example of this. My husband and I paid off $60,000 of debt in 2 years. And it was probably more than that. It was probably like 65-ish thousand. But what we did, we cut down on everything. We're pretty frugal people to begin with. We don't really buy much. But we both had student loans. I had about $20,000. He had about $10,000. We had 2 car loans as well. And then we had credit cards, but we didn't have any debt on them. We pay them off every month. And then we had our house. So obviously I'm not going to worry about my house payment. House payment, some people want to pay off their house and be debt free. And maybe eventually we'll get there, but that is not a goal for me right now. The things that mattered to us the most was paying off our cars, because that gave us about $500 more a month than what we had. So we hustled. My husband had a side job going. I worked full time and took care of our daughter, and did everything we could with that. And so we just paid off as much debt as humanly possible, and we ended up using half of our income basically went to debt. And it was awesome. So we paid off all kinds of debt. And then eventually, once we paid off those 2 cars, I was like, okay, now we can get pregnant. Now we're at least in a comfortable spot, and we still were able to pay off debt as we went down and pay off on student loans. But the car loans were shorter loans, so it was a quicker way to get money fast. There's a lot of different methods that you can use to pay off debt. And by a lot, more like 2, but whatever. Basically, you've got the snowball method, or you've got the avalanche method. So the snowball method is when you order all of your debt from least to biggest, and you start with the smallest one regardless of the interest rate, and you work your way down. I personally like this configuration the best, simply because it keeps you motivated at first, because that's the hardest part, that first bit when you're like starting to try and figure yourself out. It's really nice to be able to pay off some debts really quickly and just get in the groove of things. The other method is the avalanche method. So that is where you start with your highest interest rate Start with your highest interest rate loans / debts and just list them out and go and pay them off that way. So I really, really highly suggest a snowball if you're trying to get to living on one income, simply because it would usually happen a little faster that way. Honestly, we've broken down if we would do one way or the other with our debt, and it's not been much difference in the payoff time. So it wasn't that big of a deal for us. For other people, it may be different. So I would encourage you to there's a program that we use called Undebt It, and I can link that below. Undebt It is awesome. It makes it super easy. It connects to You Need a Budget if you use that. And it's just awesome all around, basically. Alright, so here's a question. What happens when you feel like you've cut everything you can and you still can't pay off debt? You have options. Do not worry. So you can get a side hustle. We did that. You can work extra hours at your job if you can. You can be really forward with your boss and ask for a raise. or just ask them for unique ways that you could make more money. It doesn't always have to be a raise. Maybe you can ask for bonuses, like based on your performance, or it's okay to go talk to your boss about that and just explain, like, we're working very hard right now to be financially independent, and we'd really love to do some extra work here for you so that I could get paid more. You could probably say that a little bit more eloquently, but don't be afraid to speak up and ask. It'll be okay. Specifically women, we have a problem with that. So different side hustles you can try. Uber, Lyft, Instant Cart, Shipt. I've been hearing a lot about Shipt lately. It's interesting. Even things, watching kids at your house, like babysitting. And then even if if you mow your own lawn, which you should be if you're trying to pay off debt, go ahead and see if some neighbors will let you mow their lawn. Just do anything you can to make a few extra bucks here and there, and I promise it will help. You also need to be really realistic about what you're cutting. Don't cut so much that you're going to burn out hardcore. But also keep in mind that you have a goal, and if you want to reach that goal, it's going to take sacrifice. But you know how happy you're going to be in the end? You are going to get this big, big thing, this big gift for you and your family to have more time together. And it's definitely worth it. It's worth the time and the effort and everything. And no, it's not going to be like that forever. You're not always going to have to live like you're living when you're paying off debt, because it's hard then. You're going to be so much better off in the end when you're done paying off the debt to get to that point where you can live under your one income. Now, to make this go even faster, you yourself, whoever wants to stay home, it could be a dad too, they could get a side hustle that I could do while the baby is there with them. And that can be something that can really accelerate, because you don't even have to get under the one income. You just need to get under what income you can bring in. That's what I did. So I started my blog because I wanted to stay home with my baby. And it, by the grace of God, it worked out for me, and this has gone really well. So I get to stay home with my kids, and I work every other waking moment I can get to. And it's a big blessing for us, and it has been amazing. But there was a lot of hard work on the front end to make it happen. We lived on $1,900 a month. That is something to be proud of. We were also paying off debt at $1,900 a month because we were still trying to get those costs down as far as possible. So I realize this video has been a little bit of a mishmash. So I'm going to give you a rundown. You're going to start prepping as early as possible. You're going to lower expenses wherever you can. Is this expense more important than your goal? No? Okay, good. You're going to make a budget that's realistic, that you're not going to burn out on. You're going to pay off all your debt, not all of it, but you're going to pay off the amount of debt you need to get to that number as fast as humanly possible. And then you're going to get to your number and stay home with your baby. So it sounds super simple, but it's a journey. I've got a lot of resources that kind of go along with this subject. I have a free monthly budget debt printable that you can grab down below. I'll link that. And I actually have a full course on this too if you're interested. It's called Two Incomes to One, a complete guide. And it takes you through my own unique process for budgeting and keeping track of everything from month to month and keeping you guys motivated, and there's little prizes along the way, and it's super fun. I'm all about rewards. So you can check that out below as well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Like and subscribe, and have a great day. I'll see you next week. Bye.